Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium. I'm a spirit navigator. I'm so happy to be sharing the screen with my good friend, an amazing tarot reader, Reiki healer, psychic medium himself, Kevin with Kevin's Loving Vibration. How are you doing tonight, Kevin?
Oh, I'm doing great, Susan. Always so much fun to be here and hanging out with you. It's always a blast. I always look forward to it.
We were already laughing before we
Yeah.
went live. Kevin keeps trying to get me to go ghost hunting, and I said, "You go and then tell me what it was like." And then when he's telling me, I'm going to have like a string of garlic, I'm going to have squirt guns with holy water, and I'm going to have a big cross, and I'm going to be like, "Okay, tell me what happened in case some of them ghosts, jump over here through the internet." So anyway, Kevin and I
You
have
should
a
use
good
some
time.
protective crystals. You'll be good.
And we're going to be talking politics tonight. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on, and I do know that Kamala Harris is going to be live tonight giving a speech. If you don't know that, well, now you do. The event that she's speaking at doesn't even start till 7. Believe me, we will not interfere with Kamala Harris
Oh,
and her
exciting.
speech.
Yeah.
She's speaking at a not-for-profit organization, and we can answer your questions about that. We can answer your
Yeah.
questions about anything because we are here to hang out with you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
I
Really
was saying
appreciate.
before we got started, I've been focusing in on my classes. I have 2 classes in May for my Reiki. So I have not been paying much attention to the news. So Susan's always well informed. So we'll have some good topics to read on, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I have to really sip the news because it
Yeah,
just will make you, it's like sipping poison, right? I
drive
mean,
me crazy.
so
Yeah,
I don't know how well informed I am, but I know you guys are.
yeah,
So one question that it's a nonprofit charging $25,000 a plate. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I get it. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, we could talk about that, but that seems to be the way our political field
mm,
operates. And if you show up without the money, you don't win. I mean, we look, that is a good topic because we just had Elon Musk offering voters, a lottery to win $1 million. I mean,
yeah,
and we know that he has challenged other political foes and said, if you don't do what I want you to do, I will primary you and I'll make sure that person gets millions of dollars to run against you. So it's a terrible system, but it is the playing field, right? I mean, what do
mm.
you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, I do see changes with that eventually, but it's going to take some time, to get money out of politics or big corporations out of politics. To me, it feels like it's like within the next decade, like 8 years, but we'll get there eventually. I see a lot of more changing. Republican Party, I've said for a long time, it feels like it's going to implode, but even the Democratic Party is going to go through its own changes as well. So, um, but I think it will be nice when you can get billionaires and big corporations out of politics.
I know we have to, Citizens
Yeah.
United, right? It goes back in some ways to Citizens United. And I know you weren't criticizing. I didn't mean to
Mm,
sound like that if I did. It's a good question. And it's a real problem because Democrats don't have that kind of money typically, right?
yeah.
So what's going to be interesting to see who shows up at this dinner and who's got that kind of money to throw at this not-for-profit organization is, my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, is to identify and support women that want to run as Democrats. So
Hmm.
this is really an operative in a way. Like this is a real future forward-thinking kind of event. And I wonder if that 25 whatever it was thousand whatever it is, if that goes to seed money for these people to have
Mm,
campaign monies. I don't know.
yeah.
It's I agree with Kevin. We both have seen both of the parties kind of splitting at some point, because they're divided. I mean, we see it in the Democratic Party right now. You see that Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and Bernie, and
Mhm.
they're a little bit different than some of the conservative Dems.
Yeah. Do you think, I kind of feel like this is the start of Kamala kind of coming back out to the public.
I do too. So it didn't occur to me because I don't follow the rules, apparently. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
rules, what are you talking about? And somebody said, well, it's 100 days now. She can come out. I mean, that's the
Mhm.
tradition. The tradition is to allow for the transfer of power and to make it look like we're really a democracy. The person who doesn't win should take a seat for 100 days
Yeah.
and let that new person get settled in their power. And here it is 101 days. And this woman is like, who wants me to talk?
Yeah.
So I love that. And I also love that it explains why she's been quiet.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, she, the whole thing was very hard for her. You're very
Oof.
disappointed with it too. But I kind of see her coming out to the forefront, just like Tim Walz and Bernie and AOC, and I see her back on the stage, leading a lot of like this movement.
Yeah, I do too. And I think you guys can correct me in the comments, but I think it's 7 p.m. Central. So it's an hour from now is when the
Mm,
event starts. I don't know. I would assume they're not going to just turn the mic on, turn the light on, and then there's Kamala Harris. I would assume that there's, an introduction and there's a panel or whatever. I don't know. But so basically, she could be speaking in an hour.
yeah.
And somebody could probably put it in the comments. Emerge something is the name of the group. And I was wondering if it's going to be on her YouTube channel, but I doubt it because Democrats can't seem to understand how to self promote. But
Right.
I think Yahoo, somebody said they were going to cover it
Yeah. Well, and even if it's
online.
not live, I see her speech being, in mainstream media, clips of it. I'm sure we can all find it on YouTube
Oh
too.
my
So
God. Yeah. I mean, that guy, so if you haven't been paying attention to politics, which I don't blame you. So the guy, and I didn't watch it, but like you're saying, I saw clips of the guy on 60 Minutes
mm,
grilling Trump, and Trump was
yeah,
like, it says MS-13, like, right. And the guy's like, it doesn't. And he's like, it does. And the guy's like, it doesn't. So that guy actually really stood up to
yeah.
Trump. He really stood up to him. He kept changing the subject because he was like, you don't even, either you don't know reality or you don't care about reality. We're
Hmm.
going to change the subject. And Trump kept bringing him back and saying, no, you
Yeah.
need to agree with me. That's what he said,
It's
actually.
interesting too, because I think with all of the chaos that his administration has started, but I see it even kind of getting a bit worse before, things settle down a little bit. Um, you already are seeing the people going out and protesting, but I even see, um, the rich donors that are being affected with this trade wars, and even the mainstream media really starting to take like a hard turn away from him, and really starting to, you know, give it to him good. So
I love that. And I think that's what we need. We cannot
yeah.
go forward without some portion of the media or portion of the billionaire class. Let me ask you, you might not have heard Bezos, the owner, whatever he is,
Yeah.
CEO of Amazon, that he was going to put the tariff, you know,
Hmm.
and then apparently he
He
decided
folded.
not to do.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you feel like that he was really scared, or do you think he was simply weighing his options and deciding not to have to go to war with the federal government right now?
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I do kind of feel like he was threatened, and I do feel some fear there. But it's actually interesting. I'm glad that it came out that way, even if he folded with Amazon, because I actually see a lot of other companies that maybe aren't so pro 45, doing the same thing, listing the amount, the tariffs, like a tax, or like a subcategory on a receipt.
I mean, they kind of have to, right? Because
Hmm.
they're not going to take the pain for this, and there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of pain. And I just don't see grocery stores or even Amazon or Target or even if you're boycotting those people. I just don't see, even you go get tires, right? Or you go
Mhm.
get a new battery or whatever it is. I don't see AutoZone saying, yeah, well, your battery is $550. And you're like, it was just $250. You know what I
Right.
mean?
They're not gonna
And
take
they're
the heat
like,
for it.
we can't tell you why, right?
Mhm.
They're gonna be honest because they're not gonna want to get that heat. And then
Mhm.
eventually all that heat's gonna get focused back to the person
I
that it
even see
needs to.
his base getting really pissed off about it.
Who getting pissed off?
His base.
His base. Me
Yeah,
too.
in the red
Me
state.
too.
I mean, it's part of this. The energy right now is it's so heavy. We're all kind of going through it, all of us light workers, and a lot of empaths in our community can just like empathic whiplash. But this anger is really, I see it continuing to be like adding fuel to the fire with it. Even his hardcore supporters are starting to get pretty upset with the tariffs.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that this is why I think in one of my videos I said that, or actually I don't even know, the karma bus is coming, right?
Mm,
And it's not us. It's not our bus,
yeah.
right? Those people that were dumb enough to believe this guy and are going to lose their jobs or whatever is going to happen to them,
Mm,
I'm sorry for them, but they're the ones that are going to be like you're saying, Kevin, they're the ones that are going to be super heated and angry. And those people are already not so
they're going
connected
to be
with
the ones that are
reality,
hurt the most with
right?
all of it.
They're the ones that are gonna
Hmm.
those are the people who are gonna be showing up at their Congress people's,
Yeah.
offices and God knows where. And stay out of their way because
Hmm.
they're also gonna blame us. The other thing that I got was they're gonna blame everybody because that's how they got in this position to begin with. They
Yeah.
never took responsibility for themselves. It was too easy to blame someone who's not white. And
Mm,
then too easy to blame women or too easy to blame LGBTQI.
yeah.
So now they're coming to realize that they've been had, they've been lied to, and they're going to blame all of us. And so
Yeah.
stay out of their way. Just really stay out of their way.
Yeah. I agree. I was gonna say something and I lost it. You know how those
Oh,
intuitive
sorry.
hits can come in one ear and out the other sometimes, but it's all right.
Well, I have a few questions.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Oh, and did you do this by David Crooks? I saw an article that said the articles of impeachment would go to the House to die.
Mm.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the articles of impeachment?
Yeah, I'm not feeling like it's time just yet. We're getting closer, but I don't feel like it's I don't remember was it a congressman from Michigan that filed
It
it?
was, yeah, somebody I didn't know actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, not one of
Um,
the people we know.
I see it getting to a point where I know things are so crazy right now, but I see it getting to a point where even Republicans can't stand by Trump. Um, I don't know if this is, trying to send the military against protesters and declaring martial
Mm.
law. It feels like something really crazy like that. Um, Something big will kind of shift. I even see his administration, his cabinet, talking about the 25th Amendment at some point. Um, and it feels like it's not yet, but maybe like June, July.
Yeah,
We're getting close,
we're getting close.
but I don't feel like this article of impeachment's gonna really gain any traction.
I had a lot more hope for it until Bezos stepped back. And then I realized what you're saying is they
Mhm.
don't have the stomach for it, or they don't feel like they have the support. They don't feel like, part of this is the MAGAs have to get to a certain point too where they're
Mhm.
mad. So then that's kind of cover. Like I can turn against the king because
Mhm.
now his constituents are against him too.
Yeah.
Do you still see something? So you feel like this could really go down more like in June or somewhere in the
It feels
summer?
like we're still a couple months away. Although, we've said March, April, May are gonna be big months,
Yeah.
and they certainly have been, with the economy and everything that he's been doing, but, um, yeah, I'm feeling like it might be like June.
tell me
May's a
about
really heavy month though too, I feel like. It's just like
what's that?
that May's a very heavy month too. Like I said, it's kind
May
of
is a
this
heavy month, y'all. Oh my God, it's heavy.
it's
It's
this
it's
building effect of anger and outrage and
it's bad.
standing up for, our country. And, it's going to be a huge movement. And we're already starting to see that with some of the protests. But like I said, I even feel, some people are way on the Trump train, drank the Kool-Aid and probably never getting off of it. But I even see like a considerable amount of Republicans um, getting really pissed off and kind of joining the resistance.
They have to. For this to work,
Mhm.
we need them, right? So do you see, because he's already been impeached twice, and in case you guys don't know, the impeachment happens in the Congress, and then the Senate can decide to take it up and do what they
Mhm.
call indict. They can indict him.
Mm.
Um, so it doesn't matter unless both houses do their thing, and if both houses do their thing, he's out. So do you see the Senate picking up this energy and indicting him? I mean, do you see him getting the
Like the
pink slip?
removal, you mean?
What?
When you say indict, so like it would go up through the House and then
The
the Senate would
second
remove?
the second part is the Senate, and it's called indicting in the Senate.
Yeah. Okay. The thing with it is I do feel like there's some Republicans that support it, but I think they need is it a 2/3 majority? So it's kind of a big stretch. Um, I almost feel like, like I said, the energy is going to be very heavy, and there'll be a point where Donald Trump does something like declare martial law or trying to send the military after citizens. Um, but also, too, those around him, he's really not doing well with the health. And I mean, I saw clips of that. Was it ABC interview? And last week he was just kind of wandering aimlessly out in the White House lawn talking about where to put flagpoles, but like he's really losing it. I almost feel like it's more going to happen from his administration.
25th
Um,
Amendment?
mhm.
Yeah, I agree. So and so for his administration to do that, would that be like Vance's? Like you think about the court, the king and the
Mhm.
intrigue, this person is getting this group together to overthrow the king. Do you feel like that's Vance's group that wants
Yeah,
to,
yeah. Well, we said it all along. Donald Trump never chose Vance to be his
right? Yeah, that's
VP.
right.
It was always the higher ups, and you know, Trump's cratering the economy and stock market right now. And like I said, he's just becoming more and more delusional and um, incoherent. So at some point, I see them pressuring to, okay, we need to, we need to put Vance in. But then the funny thing is with that too is I don't necessarily see Vance as president.
No.
So it's going to definitely be interesting.
Yeah. That's the part, that's the power vacuum, I think, that the
Mhm.
guides were talking about, right? Um, so I don't know how it works. Trump's
Yeah,
astrology is bad in May, but even worse in June. I love that for him.
I love it too.
I love that for him. I agree, Kevin. I think there's almost one of those things, well, three things, right? The great
Mhm.
McDonald's in the sky, 25th Amendment, or he's booted out by both, houses, by Congress. But it's a two-part thing. We can't just
Mhm.
have one part. We need to have both the House and the Senate do their thing for
Yeah.
that to be effective. And and I think the thing, and this is why I think you're getting June, because I think the things he does in May are so egregious, and it could be
Yeah.
the economy. It could be a combination of things, but the economy certainly. Um, that by June, everybody's just sick of him. Like you're
Yeah.
saying, like a lot of his own party are sick of him.
There's even, yeah, the economy, but also too, I feel like I don't, it doesn't feel like war, but maybe something with the military
I
that,
just, yeah,
yeah, there's some
yep,
kind of, I don't know if it's,
yes.
hmm, yeah,
To
something
me,
with the
it's
military too, like an operation or something like that, that is not going to be, well received. But I agree. I mean, the energy in May feels like it's kind of doom and gloom. And pissing a lot of people off. Summer feels like it's going to be very heightened too.
Yes.
Then it
Long,
feels like
hot
it kind of
summer.
calms down, like August, September. After
Yeah.
that, it feels like, I don't know, it's like we can get a deep breath in, like the energy's kind of calmed. I don't know if that's he's removed then or, but it feels like the energy kind of settles like more into the fall. Even the economy, it feels like it's okay, not so volatile. Do you get a similar feeling with that?
I do. But I think it could be September, October. It
Yeah.
seems like August could also be up in the air. I mean,
Mm,
the interesting thing, neither one of us really see Vance as
yeah.
president for like the rest of the term. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying I can't get there. I can't
Yeah.
see that. So I don't know how he gets removed, and I don't know who takes over after that, or how all that goes down. So
Yeah.
that also adds to the uneasiness and the fear and the churning of what is going to happen, right?
Mhm.
Because
Well, you
we've never been here, I don't think. I mean,
yeah,
maybe
it's unprecedented.
150 years ago, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't really think we've been here like this.
Yeah. And you and Afefe had a live show last week, which was amazing. I love you and Afefe
Thank
together.
you.
Um, and you were kind of chatting about that too. And I agree 100% with that. I don't know if it's election interference stuff coming out that kind of leaves it into question, but it almost feels like there's a removal and maybe like a temporary president is put into place, maybe like past presidents, but like bipartisan. Doesn't feel like it's going to be all on one side until, I don't know, if there's another election or they get it all sorted out. But there's something really unprecedented coming in, and feels like fall of this year.
But it also feels supported. Like you're saying, we can
Mhm.
take a breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody's asking about mid-May. So I had said that I felt like there was an opportunity for him to be impeached in mid-May. But if you remember, the guide said, once you throw this, you have to move quickly. Like you
Hmm.
can't just throw it out there and then wait. That then he knows it's coming, and then he's
Yeah.
going to. And this is what I feel like it was what you're seeing. There were impeachment articles. There's no energy behind it. And then the energy that I was seeing was Bezos standing up, which he did,
Yeah.
and then he sat down.
You called it. Yeah.
So to me, that deflated the energy. The energy,
Hmm.
the guide said, if this happens, it's got to happen very quickly. You can't aim for the king and then go, oh, I'm going to take a break, or I'm going to go to
Right.
lunch, or
Yeah.
I'll come back next week. You can't do that. You have to like that. Like if you're
Mhm.
going to knock down or get rid of a wasp nest,
Mhm.
are you going to smack it and then walk away? And then be like, I showed that wasp nest. No, you got to do the whole thing, right? So that's what I think happened to May.
Well, and we've
And
learned about that too with our previous attorney general, who was super slow and not proactive on everything, and now look where we're at. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to charge at something, we can't. It needs to be quick. Take them out quickly. I
you got to
also
follow through.
feel, and this is part of the May energy too. There's a health thing for Trump coming up.
Yes.
But
But
with
we've seen
multiple
that.
things.
I mean,
Mhm.
we've seen that, and he somehow lives on.
I
So
don't know if there's like a surgery, but there's like a medical intervention is what I'm picking up. Timing's
well, they
always a
need
bit
to stop
hard.
intervening. What is the
Yeah,
hell wrong with them? My God.
yeah. There's something though that's coming up with the health.
Yeah. And I've seen
Well,
a
art
coalition
related.
government with,
Mhm.
the interim. I think Kevin and I, the funny thing is, Kevin and I, if you go back to our videos last year, before the election, Kevin and I both saw some kind of weird delay or time
Mhm.
after January 20, not having to do with that, but a delay or a period of time when there's no president. And we were
Yeah.
talking about it going, how is this even possible? And, it just goes to show you when you see into the future, it just makes no sense. Like you can't
Mhm.
even imagine what that would be like. Right. And,
But sometimes
and
it's
then the energy.
symbolical too. Like the energy that you're picking up, I might see something like I saw an empty stage for inauguration. You know, maybe it's not a physical thing of something happening, but it can be very metaphoric, symbolic in a sense too, you know?
Yeah. Cause it was empty.
Mhm.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of energy there.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I wanted to say, so we talked about the impeachment. Governor Pritzker, my God, that
Mm.
man. No, that man. What's going on with him? Any divination on whether Governor Pritzker of Illinois will run for president in 2028?
I see him running for president. I don't see him winning.
Oh, you don't see him winning?
No. He may be considered as a VP again.
Ooh, or you
I
know
don't know.
what?
I
Secretary
could
of
kind of
State.
feel that, but I don't, I'm still I'm not feeling like strong enough to be like, yeah, he's a vice presidential thing. It feels like he's in consideration. I don't know if he gets it, but he's definitely gearing up for a presidential run.
I mean, he's wonderful. When we say we don't see it, we're not saying he's not good enough. We're just saying
Yeah.
the energy isn't there right now. Like it's not
Mhm.
supported. The energy can change, you guys.
I feel like I've been saying, well, and I think we even chatted about it at our last show, the split in the Democratic Party. I really see a lot of corporate Democrats and old school Democrats kind of phasing out. And there's a
Yeah.
new fiery progressive energy kind of taking over leadership. And I'm almost feeling like that will be, it will be more of a progressive, more exciting, very vocal and fighting back against what's going on right now. That's the kind of energy I feel like our nominee will be.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
So you feel like the nominee, you don't feel like Kamala. Do you feel like Kamala's going to run again or even have a potential possibility of being
I
president?
do. I do think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And but that's where it's like too, like she needs to make a decision. Is she going for California governor, or is she, after everything happens, is she gonna, lead the stage again? I kind of am feeling more of her leading the stage for president again.
I kind of do too, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure she's 100% made up her mind. And I think tonight, these kinds
Yeah.
of speaking engagements and engaging with the press, I think this is her testing of
Mhm. Yeah.
how people are receiving her. How does she feel about dealing with the press and dealing with in talking about it?
Yeah.
Um,
But she's gonna really step into this role of, like an anti-establishment Democrat, like old school. She's gonna really step into this new fiery progressive, and she had her voice before when she was running, but she's really gonna find it now, I
I think
feel
so
like.
too. Gloves are off.
Yeah,
Gloves
it's
are
like
off. Like she's like, I
she's
got
not
nothing to lose.
that cautiousness that's often there because of media, attention and kind of clipping and manipulating interviews and stuff like that. I feel like she's past that. She's pissed off, and the voice, she's speaking the truth. Um, we've often said too, and this was before the election, like 2028, it could be Kamala and Newsom kind of fighting for the top spot. I know
Mm.
a lot of people aren't very happy with Newsom right now, but I feel like there's some energy behind him too. But it feels like it's going to the more fiery progressive candidate like Kamala.
What about
Yeah.
AOC? You see anything going on with her?
Oh yeah. I do feel like at some point I almost feel like she'll be Speaker of the House. It just doesn't feel like it's like right now. She may even make a Senate run or two before that.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Mhm. Yeah. I felt like Chuck Schumer, he may stick around for a little bit, but he's kind of on his way out too. I do feel like a new majority leader. He's minority leader now, but when Democrats take over the House and Senate, um, kind of going in a bit of a younger direction. Yeah.
I think AOC, what I really like about AOC is she's grounded and
Hmm.
she's very strategic. she's not just going to be doing it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She's not just climbing a ladder. She's trying to decide how to build her base and how to support her people. And I think that's how you do it, right? Like, so when she
Mhm.
gets in that position of power, she's going to have all the support. She's going
Yeah.
to be untouchable. She doesn't have to play party politics because she will have built this really strong base.
But I see her something. I don't necessarily feel president, although I think she'll run. Not anytime soon anyway. I'm not saying that
Yeah,
that's
she's so young.
not a
She's got plenty of
possibility,
time.
but I see her as like Speaker of the House or like Majority Leader. I'm feeling more like House though,
Do you?
like
I
kind of
kind
like
of agree with you. I don't know why. It takes so much money to run for
yeah,
Senate, and they're going to come for her guns blazing with a lot of money. They're going to bring all their money
hmm
because she triggers them.
yeah,
Let me ask you about Pete and his beard. Have you seen
yeah.
Pete and his beard? Have you seen it? Because I'm thinking,
I
damn,
did, yeah,
sir, what happened? It's like I
yeah.
don't even know what happened. What happened? He looks
Mm,
like a whole new guy. Anyway,
yeah,
um, is he, he's clearly decided, well, I got to do something, right? Like
yeah.
I can't take the summer off and hang out with my family. I got to get busy. Do you see him making any big moves in the midterms?
Mm. Well, there was a lot of speculation that he would run for the senator race, and when it was all coming out, I don't remember if we read on it, but I wasn't feeling it. I felt like he wouldn't run for it. He'll run for president again. I could see him as Secretary of State. At some point I see him as vice president, and I feel like he'll be president one day too. But this is kind of, not right now, maybe like in the next 20 years.
In the next
He's got a
20 years?
yeah. He's young
Uh-oh.
too though. But he
He
looks good
is
with the
young.
beard. Yeah.
He is young. And I have always seen him as Secretary of State because he speaks all those languages. He's such a diplomat, but yet he can go head to head, toe to toe with anybody. Hey, if FA's here with Touch by Tarot,
Hey, Beth, nice to
he
see you.
is working that beard. My God.
Mm.
He's got everybody considering their sexuality. Okay. He was so nerdy without I don't know. I'm
Uh,
just telling y'all. I don't know. Like,
he looks good with a little bit of scruff on his face, right?
yeah, he does. He looks good.
Hmm.
Yeah, we were just talking about UFFA in our live we did last week. So yeah, let's see. This is something I need to ask you guys, and maybe
Mm.
Kevin knows or God knows who knows. I don't understand the word decertified. The question is, do
Mhm.
you see this administration decertified during the summer? Because I got so excited about the word decertified, I looked it up 9 ways
Yeah,
on Google, and I can't find the word in relation to the Constitution. So I don't. That having said that, I think that we're going to be in a place where we've never been before. Like we are
yeah.
talking about a coalition government. We've never been here before. But do you know anything about decertification, or how does that sound to you?
I agree with you. It sounds a little bit funny to me because you know, it's not in the Constitution and it's kind of unprecedented. Thing is I don't know if that's the word that I would use for it, but
That's what Meg just said. It's unprecedented. We're going to
yeah,
have to come
but
up with
it's
new things. Okay.
mhm. But obviously
Invalidated,
I
kind of
know that
invalidated.
yeah, I know that it comes from another really awesome psychic in our community, so I don't want to feel like I'm like
Oh,
stepping on
yeah.
anybody's toes or, with their predictions, but I agree, like, the word decertify feels a little off to me, but it's unprecedented for sure, so I'm not going to say that that's not what it
I
is.
mean, that
Maybe
could
it's
be
just
25th Amendment.
clarification though, yeah,
Um, See, I think that the wheels of justice turn so slow. Obviously, we know this, right?
mhm,
We've experienced this. So they 25th Amendment him, or they force him out like they did Nixon by saying, we have the votes. And I know
mhm,
people say we don't have the votes, but we haven't felt the hurt just yet. The shells are
yeah,
still got food on them. These maggots have not experienced the pain yet.
yeah.
But
Well, and that's what we
um,
kind of really need to. I know that we're all kind of struggling in the meantime, but it's like, we really need people to really wake up, come to reality, and so unfortunately, how people how we bring about change, and how people really have that wake up call, even though it's not always pleasant. Adversity and going through challenges can wake us up, and so unfortunately, people have to be hurt before they change their mind. And I agree. It's not. I know we've all been kind of dealing with all the craziness going on right now, and it's very disheartening. But yeah, I mean, it's going to get worse before things get better. We haven't got to that boiling over point.
That's the problem. That's the problem. And I want you guys to understand that, right? Like, forewarned is forearmed. You're going to see some things. And I know Kevin and I are picking up heavy. May is so heavy, and I don't exactly know why. And June feels lighter, but fractious. So I think the next couple of months are going to be kind of like, even though we knew crazy things were going to be happening, this is even like crazier than we thought. And you mentioned war. I do want to mention that, because when I go into 45's energy, when this starts happening, when look, the public is against him. His approval ratings are in the toilet. The guy from CNN or whatever it was, 60 Minutes, literally ripped him a new one on national television. These are signs. You cannot ignore these signs. The Supreme Court 9-0 and then 7-0. These are signs. You cannot ignore this. You really cannot. So when he starts seeing that, he's losing it, he's going to need a distraction, and a distraction because he thinks he's the Pope now. Or he wants to be the Pope, but he also wants to be a general. He wants to have those military parades. So I kind of feel like he could do something with misuse the military. We were talking about this a few minutes ago, but I feel like the word is misuse.
Yeah.
Tell them to do something. They're like,
illegal order. And I feel people are resistant to that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the MAGAs don't want a war. That's one thing. They're against the draft, and they're against a war. Remember, they're like, all the money to us, and don't mess with anybody, and all the money to us. So a war would be bad for them. They wouldn't like that. Yeah. A horned animal is more dangerous. Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
And like I said, it feels like it may be something like trying to turn the military against people, but I also feel like there's some energy around him doing something stupid with Iran, and I'm not necessarily feeling an all-out war breaking out for it, but it feels like there may be some strikes or something with that area.
I totally believe that. Yeah, I totally. Or the Houthis, or pick somebody that he can pick on, and change. It's a little bit like George Bush, right? Like after 9/11, the guy, his whole popularity changed. His whole image changed. It remade his image. And do not think that 45 is that stupid. He gets it. He gets what makes people popular. I mean, the things he cares about, he pays attention to. So he could do something like that. So, but I don't see. So if he does that, and this is why, let's talk about Pete Hegseth too. Do you see the military? I mean, if he says, let's bomb this terrorist, blah, 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 then we probably will do that. But if he says, let's bring all these troops to Panama, I mean, if he does something bigger, do you feel like the military is going to go along with that, or where do they draw?
I feel resistance to the order because it doesn't feel like it's lawful.
Right.
Like I said, it feels like it would be something like trying to turn the American military on the American citizens for speaking their truth or something like that.
Oh, that is so true, because I did see that. That is so true. Okay. All right. And so what do you think about Pete Hegseth? Do you think he's going to get the axe soon, or do you think he's going to be around?
No, I did say after the first scandal, when Signalgate first happened, I was like, there's more. Like, the story's not over. It's kind of going to continue. I do see it getting to a point where Trump just kind of throws him under the bus to kind of distance himself. So I do see him losing it eventually. it actually, it could actually be like in May. It feels
In
pretty
May.
soon. Yeah. And also, who was the other one with him? He's throwing other people under the bus for it. What was the guy that started the chat? You know,
Uh, it wasn't Hexeth. It was
or the one that included the journalist.
yeah, I can't remember now what his name
I
is. For
can't
some
remember
reason,
his
my
name,
brain
but
is
I felt
blocked.
like he was gonna be a scapegoat as well.
Waltz, right? Thank you, pro
Yeah,
democracy. Waltz,
Waltz.
Waltz, and Mike Davis. There's a bunch of them. And so, what are you saying about that? That he's going to throw both of them under
Mhm.
the table, over
Yeah,
the cliff.
yeah. I don't feel them in there that much longer. I don't know who replaces them. I'm sure he's got a crazy list of, bootlickers, but um, it's not like he's going to put somebody sane or somebody that's qualified for that position in there. He wants a soldier, right?
I mean, he wants somebody like Hegseth, who's not really who's a disgraced soldier, is what
Yeah.
the guides just called him. And I think it's interesting. Hey, Aiden Reeds Thoreau is here. What's interesting is that when Hegseth first did that, everybody was like, "Oh, he's toast, he's toast." But I knew he wasn't, because this is why it feeds into the military question. They need him. They need him there to do the really stupid, really illegal, really treasonous thing, because he'll do it.
Yeah.
He has no idea of the real military thought process or patriotism.
Mhm.
So they're going to keep him around until they do whatever it is they do, which I think is going to be in May. And then I think after that, he'll be gone. Like, they're going to use him,
Mhm.
abuse him, and then toss him to the side
You're
like
right.
they do.
I agree. Well, it's clearly obvious why they're using an unsecured app to communicate, is because they, first off, they don't want a paper trail, and then they also want other people to be able to intercept that. I threw a couple cards for him, and the whistleblowers coming out with
Nice.
the military, and working with others. So it's more military information. It may come out that some people already have some of the communications. It leads him to worry, and the truth being exposed. Um, yeah, the signal gate is not over by any means.
It's not over.
Mhm.
And when Hegseth does this last dirty deed, which could have something to do with nuclear or something, like, I don't see
Mhm.
anybody dropping a big bomb. I don't see the end of the world, but it could be something like a nuclear sub. I mean, it could have something like that where he exposes some, our
Mhm.
people or something, which is very dangerous and treasonous. But once he does that, which is their bidding, which I think benefits Russia, then
Mhm.
he's out right
Yep.
now. So who are they going to replace him with? I mean, again, I don't really see him being replaced with a general, with
Right.
somebody with real,
Not somebody that's qualified or
right,
experienced.
nobody
Yeah.
qualified. But it's like you said earlier, it'd have to be like a lackey. Thank you, FFA.
Mm.
It would have to be a lackey,
Yeah.
somebody who's really capable. And think back to Trump's first term, when all those people started going to jail, like Eastman and all those. It would have to be somebody who's
It's
willing
a
to go
yes
to jail.
man. It's somebody that's gonna just follow Trump's orders and not question him.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. That is right. And that wouldn't be a true soldier. A true
Yeah.
soldier would never do that.
A soldier to Trump, but not
Yeah,
for our
it's a true
country. Yeah.
soldier to Trump, right? Yeah, yeah. I know he could get people killed. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Nobody's joking. I mean, we're not joking about this. But when I'm reading, when the guides are telling me it's unemotional, what I say is unemotional, and that's why.
Mhm.
It's not me in my physical humanness saying
Yeah,
this.
we're not, we're kind of disconnecting from our own feelings and, thoughts on the matter, and just kind of being the messenger of information and energy coming through.
You have to do that, because
Yeah.
if you stayed in your ego, you'd be wrong. because you would let your fear and your own thoughts and your own ideas cloud it. So you really have to be disconnected. Not like a doctor. A doctor has to walk in and have this kind of distance from their patients so that they can, see what's wrong instead of the fact that the patient is, presenting in this pain. If you just connect with the pain, then you can't connect with the physical body to see what's wrong. Anyway.
Can I post this? Because it actually kind of resonates
please.
with a terrifying thought. What do you feel about Joel saying,
oh my God.
I could totally see him trying to do something.
Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. Okay, here's the question the guides just said. Is Flynn willing to go to jail? Because I'm telling you right now, this is treason. Like, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes only, this is illegal, and we're talking treason.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the things that Flynn has done could be argued as questionably treason, but if he steps into this role, I need to go to jail. I mean, what do you think?
I think he may try to do something like that, but I almost feel like there's enough Republican backlash against the idea of putting him in there as defense. Like in the Senate, where they would vote him through, he'd have to be voted through. I don't think he'd have the votes.
I agree with you. But then I started thinking about what's that?
It's a terrifying thought for sure.
It's terrifying. If y'all don't know what he's doing, he's traveling the country doing these road shows where he's really ginning up violence against citizens and anti-Americanism. It's really scary what he's doing. And don't forget that his brother is still active duty, I think, in the Navy, and he's quite high. He's got a very high level position.
Yeah.
So and his brother was on the phone, if I remember correctly, on the Jan 6 phone call. So his brother, I think, is implicated in this mess. Yeah. And that guy still, I mean, he's high ranking. So yeah, these are Charles Flynn. His brother is look at his brother. Is Charles Flynn his brother, Denise? You would know because I think you were Navy. I hope he has retired. The last I heard, he got his approval to go to a higher rank, and then he might have retired after that. Okay, great. That's good. That's good news because that makes me feel a little better that he's not actually commanding troops with this kind of unpatriotic stuff. But he's also in the mix, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's something he considers, but I don't feel it going through. Maybe it's temporary, like acting, and then they try to vote him in. I don't feel like. I know that the Senate voted all the crazy people in, but like I said, we have to kind of get to this building point where there are some Republicans that just have to kind of step away. It's interesting too because I think the Senate's actually voting. I don't know if they've already voted today. They're voting on the tariffs again, and there's no chance that even Mike Johnson would bring it up on a vote in the House. But I feel like there'll be more Republicans out against it this time than the last time it passed the Senate.
These are so who they're showing me is that woman, the woman who's on the East Coast, who's a Republican, who sometimes says she's going to vote Democrat, but then at the last minute doesn't. And she's the one who said, I'm really scared. People really made fun of her for saying that, but I feel like that takes courage to say, I've been intimidated, I've been threatened.
You're thinking of Murkowski.
Collins or Murkowski. I get those two mixed up. I think it's Murkowski.
Murkowski was the one that was
Murkowski. Thanks, you guys. Yeah. Okay.
Scared. Yeah.
So when you have these Republicans being terrified, and with good reason, right? I mean, look at Bezos. Bezos apparently decided to step back and not challenge the king, and he's got a lot more power and money than Murkowski does. So we kind of need that. Yes, of FFA touched by Tarot, definitely not normal people. Yeah, exactly. So do you see do you see the Republicans or look, a handful.
Mhm.
I just need like a little handful of Republicans.
Yeah.
Do you see them getting support from the oligarchs or cover or just feeling like like Pence, right? Like Pence
Mm.
at the last minute he said, if I get in this car, our democracy's over, right?
Yeah.
Like this is not a guy that I think any of us ever thought of having a spine. And I don't know that he was on the phone with mother. I think he actually did this on his own. So
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe some of these Republicans can find a spine. Do you
And
see
find
that?
the time. Yes, I
See
do.
them?
I do see that. It's interesting. I almost feel like and I'll come back to this, but I just got ahead. I think Murkowski is going to become an independent.
She's going to move to independent. Interesting.
Mhm. Yeah. I do. Like I said, it's gonna be a bit crazy where even Republicans can't defend him, and you would think if anything, his past history, they've given him, um, chance after chance, and stood up to him with January 6th, and then they're all kissing the boot again. Um, but like I said, it's something that he does that's going to be like a major downfall, even with Republicans. There'll be I'm not saying all of them, probably not even
No,
half of them,
no.
but like a fourth of them kind of
10,
stand.
11. I think we need 10 or 11 of them. And that's all we need. We're not going
Mhm,
to convince all the MAGAs either. At some point, we just have to pick it up and do the thing ourselves because they're never going to wake up enough.
mhm, yeah.
Do you get any ideas about what maybe Trump said to Bezos to get Bezos
Mhm.
to decide not to put the tariff cost on you know, prominently
Yeah.
there on your Amazon purchase?
Let me throw some cards on it. I felt he was threatened. I felt like Trump reamed him a new one. Let's see.
Me too. And I felt like it
He
was a threat
he was
that
good.
was
I mean, even the press conference that they had, like, they were all mad. Like, how could you betray us? Kind of. I almost wonder if it was something about saying that they were going to fund Elon's projects. I wonder if maybe it has to do with what is it, Blue Origin? Is that his space company?
SpaceX. But Blue Origin might,
SpaceX
I don't
is,
know. Blue Origin, I'm
SpaceX
not
is,
sure.
is Elon's, right?
I don't even know.
It felt like there was maybe like pulling federal funding away from his space program and giving it to Elon or something like that.
But what does it have to do with Bezos, with Amazon?
Well, I don't think it had to do with Bezos has his own space company, I think.
Why do you think so the question was like Trump said something to Bezos, who owns Amazon, and
Mhm.
Bezos was saying, I'm going to put that, tariff amount on every single product so people know it's not me. Trump called him up and then Bezos backtracked. And so the question that everybody's wondering is, what kind of threat was it? Was it I mean, how can Trump even threaten somebody so powerful?
Mhm.
Oh, Blue Origin is Bezos' project.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought
So
so.
you
I thought that Bezos and Elon they have their own space company. So it was like, well, we're gonna give all of our federal funding or things that he was
Oh,
promised.
so he's gonna tank.
Yeah.
Wow, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Play
I threw
ball
some
or
cards
else.
on it. You have the bully coming through, bringing on the
Uh,
fight. Something with world implications here, world networking. Five of Wands, so kind of a tug of war match, getting in a pissing match with each other. Heartbreak, betrayal, and things turning, like the relationship turning. So there's confrontation between the two of them for sure.
but the funny thing is, you guys, this what irritates me so much. If you make a deal with the bully,
Hmm.
so it's not like they're going to honor it. I mean, when has Trump ever honored any deal? So is Bezos just buying time by
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, my bad, I won't put those tariffs on there," so that he can circle back, get some more help from the other billionaires?
Mm.
Is he buying time, or is he just trying to keep the leopard from eating his face?
I think it's the threat, the leopard eating his face, but it could be both, buying time too. Um, because I see at some point, the rich don't like losing money and all their stocks tanking and all of that, right? Yeah, he was promised something with federal funding. It could be Amazon, but
You
I feel
saw
like it
Blue
was that.
Origin.
I think maybe it was both.
And I'll tell you what, if Bezos thinks, I mean, Bezos should be calling one of us for a reading. Because if Bezos thinks that you're nice to Trump, he's going to give you some money.
Mm,
He's going to he's going to take some of Elon's money and give it to you. That's not going to happen. Elon is
mhm,
actually in the government with everybody's freaking, data.
right? Yeah.
So I don't know, Bezos, that's stupid. Maybe, I guess. I mean, I think when you're powerful, maybe you just feel like you can match them. I don't know. It's crazy.
But it is interesting because what newspaper company does Bezos own? They had like a scathing headline
Ah,
today too. So it was like there were some things that came through from that.
God, that's
I
so
feel all
funny.
the billionaires and all the big wealthy supporters, at some point, there's a stepping away from Trump, stepping away from the smell because it's going to get pretty bad.
He owns the Post.
The Post, yeah.
The Post, yeah. So that's what I think. See, what I really feel like is, of course, the people could rise up, and that's one way we could deal with this, but it's going to take a long time, and it's going to be drawn out, and it's going to be ugly. The billionaires could fund the Republicans and give them security and give them money to run. Like, so if Elon says, hey, I'm going to primary you, then Bezos could say, go ahead, I've got this person's back, right? Like,
Right.
that's
I
what
got
they're
I
doing.
got the challenger there. Yeah.
So,
But
I think that if they're willing to stand up to him, they could change this dynamic very quickly.
there's going to be a falling out between Elon and Trump. I've seen that very, very clearly. Like I said, the billionaires, it's all of this pressure that's continuing to kind of mount, public pressure, protests, people, nobody's going to want to be associated with that administration.
Yeah, I agree with you. I
Mhm.
100% agree with you. It's just, when is it going to happen? Have you
Yeah.
seen this? Because I've seen this, and I think you have it. I don't know. I know that Libby with Meister Tarot has seen it. I don't know if it's 3 days, but I've seen, and I've talked about it for a long time, a blackout, like a grid down, sort of like what happened in Spain, right? Like a grid
Mhm.
down. And the guides keep describing it like this: like when 9/11 happened, all the planes were grounded. We didn't know, are we under attack? I mean, we really didn't know. If you guys think back to that time, it never happened before. We didn't know. So there was a couple of days of just shock.
Yeah.
Also, right after the pandemic, a couple of days of, what are we doing? We can't go to work, and what's happening, right? So I kind of see it like that. I don't know if, and maybe it is 3 days. I don't know. Libby is amazing. So, but I do see some interruption.
Yeah. I have felt like I don't see like global blackout or darkness. I do feel
No,
like there'll
but
be some
United States maybe,
isolated.
or even parts.
I mean, and we just saw that too. When it could be something symbolic too, because what I felt when you were talking about it, it was like some kind of like once in a lifetime solar event.
You think it's a natural phenomenon and not a sort of an attack?
Yeah, I'm not feeling like massive blackouts. I mean, I could be wrong. I know that there's other great people that are predicting that. I'm just not picking that up.
Do you see even grid failures in like Atlanta or Baltimore or places that
Feels
would
like it's
be,
very isolated. It doesn't
yeah,
feel like it's
yes.
a nationwide blackout.
I don't see a nationwide, but even if you had a blackout in Baltimore, Atlanta,
Mm.
the whole
Yeah,
nation would be on alert.
significant. Yeah,
That's the energy I'm saying. It doesn't affect the whole nation, but we're like, wait a minute, are we next? Right?
yeah. I think
Um,
it's a solar flare, actually, is what I'm
do you
picking
really?
up.
You think it's a solar
Mhm.
flare? That's
Ma-
interesting. Okay.
mhm. And somebody in the
That's how
chat just put
crazy we
solar
are right
flare
now. I
too.
think everything is an
Mhm.
attack.
Yeah. Now, I think that there has been some attacks on our infrastructure, but
Yes.
um, or like trying to hack into it, so like some kind of cyber thing with that. But it doesn't feel like what I'm picking up with this 3 days of darkness or what other people are predicting. It feels like it's a solar flare or some kind of space space event. There might be some limited technology or brownouts.
Brownouts. That sounds that
Yeah.
has energy.
It feels like the summer too. Is that when
It
people are
feels like this
predicting it?
summer. Like it's hot. Like
Mhm.
it's also a heat wave. It's like, everybody's air conditioning goes out, whatever. But it does feel very specific to a city or a small region to me.
Mhm.
Um, I want to ask one or two more questions. And here's another
Yeah.
question. Oh, and Allison the Stone Spirit is here. Let's see. Hold on. I need to ask this question, Kevin. Because okay, so here's my very flawed thinking. I want to know, I want to get into the minds of people that I value, I trust, I honor, and see what they're thinking
Yeah.
about our current situation, right? So I literally, like 2 or 3 nights, I'm awake at 2 in the morning thinking about Hillary
Yeah.
Clinton.
Oh, Hillary.
Who are
I
you
was
going to
gonna say
ask?
I have not been sleeping good the last 3
I
nights.
know it.
I've been up till
It's
2
just
AM
energy,
every
man.
night. It's so crazy right now. Hillary, what
So,
about
so
Hillary?
who are you going to talk? Who are you going to ask about?
I wasn't necessarily picking up on everybody. I was just saying that the energy's been
The
so
energy,
crazy.
yeah. Well, the
I've
thing about
not
Hillary
been
is
sleeping.
this, right? She was Secretary of State. She knows all the world
Mm,
players. I mean, she was First Lady. This
yeah.
woman really has the gravitas to understand, I think, what we're going through, even more so than almost anybody, just from her various roles that she's
Mm,
had, and also
experience
how
and
she's
knowledge.
been
Yeah.
attacked by these people, right? She's been their target. So if you went into her energy, is she hopeful? Is she disgusted? Is
Mm.
she guarded? I mean, how does she feel about our democracy, and how does she feel about this summer with our democracy?
Well, I think that she's very guarded with all the attacks that she's had to deal with the last couple decades. But so how's Hillary Clinton feeling this summer with everything going on?
Whether you're a fan or not, she's got experience that
She's brilliant.
she knows. She's very experienced. I don't think you can detract from her experience.
Oh, she's heartbroken with what's going on.
She's heartbroken.
Interesting though. This is interesting. Okay. So she's kind of been in the dark for a while, I think, since she's ran. She's came out occasionally. You have the hermit kind of going within, you know, kind of incognito. Um, she's very upset with what's going on this summer. Three of Swords, um, and really wanting to walk away from all the devastation. But it's like she's almost a whistleblower. Like she's got the inside scoop, and so she's sharing some light. And even though that she's upset with everything going on, it's actually really interesting. You know, the Two of Cups, so she's making agreements with people, working together, bringing
Telling you,
hope, positive message, trying to keep the faith for people, and she's fighting back. So she's
she
like
got
had
no
enough.
more
She's
F's to
coming out of
give.
the
That woman
dark.
has got no more
She's
F's to
coming.
give.
She's coming out of the dark swinging. And
Hillary, we're
she's
talking about Hillary.
yeah, she brings the
She's
inspiration.
coming out of the dark swinging. Wow.
Yeah, and quickly. Like there's a sense of urgency with this too, building momentum. Interesting. I don't know if I feel like I don't feel like we're coming back into politics or anything like that.
No,
Or
I'm just
even,
trying to.
I don't necessarily feel her like going out with AOC and Bernie and having big rallies, but there's something huge that's coming up. She's making partnerships and
Behind the
agreements,
scenes. No, she's behind the scenes, baby.
but she's coming forward. I feel like there's public, but it's maybe not like a rally or like trying to gain support,
Like
but
press,
making,
like talking to the press.
yeah, it could be some kind of press thing. But she's got some kind of inside information that it brings in that sense of urgency of, okay, I need to speak out. And
She
like I
knows
said,
more than anybody thinks she knows.
mhm. It's
And
very interesting though. Like I said, there's very upset with what's going on and, trying to guard herself, protect herself, because she's been smeared for the last 20, 30 years. But something urgent kind of comes up where she's stepping back out into the spotlight.
what do you
And
think?
she's
How do
pissed.
you? What's up?
She's pissed. She's angry. She's fighting back.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like and I do think that Kamala has like they have confabbed. Because they've both been effed over.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
I think that they have shared stories or strategies. I mean, I wouldn't say they're like besties, but I would say they're peers and they
I think
respect
that
each
they've
other.
chatted a lot, even since like the election and all of that kind of, because Hillary
Especially
had the
since the
same
election.
experience.
Yes.
But I almost too, I just got to hit. Um, I wonder if there's interference stuff coming out, not from just this election, but even past elections, like
Yes.
saying that she was rigged, and so
Yes.
that's why she's coming out with
Yeah.
Harris and all that too.
She could be writing a book about it. She could be
Yeah,
writing a book about election interference.
yeah.
She could go back to Gore.
Well, and the thing is something very kind of similar energy with Clinton and Harris. It was a little bit different in 2020 because we had COVID and people were mail-in ballots, so maybe they weren't able to manipulate them.
Yeah. Do you get
Allegedly.
what's that?
I said allegedly.
Allegedly. I know.
Mhm.
I for sure. What do you get a sense about Dick Cheney?
Oh,
I
I was gonna say we have to bring up Liz Cheney before we end. We had to trigger Susan. Dick
darn
Cheney.
it.
Let's take a look at
Gosh
Dick
darn
Cheney.
it. I'm gonna be okay. We were talking
And
about
you
that when I was live with the Fefe, and I was just like, had my head in my hands. I was like, God, Liz Cheney's probably gonna be like the co-president, and you guys are gonna have to
oh,
send
I don't see
chocolate
that.
and cheese. I don't know. At
We
this
are we
point,
are
anything
it
can
wouldn't
happen.
be a show between us without mentioning Liz Cheney at some point, right? What's
Uh,
going on with Dick Cheney?
yeah, let's go on with Dick because we know that he's the guy that has the firearms.
He's got all the secrets.
He's got all the secrets.
I mean, kind of similar energy with Hillary though, too. Like, kind of what I'm feeling.
That's what I'm saying. They
Mm,
both are really angry, but for different reasons.
yeah. There's action here too. Coalitions against Trump.
Yeah.
Queen of Cups is normally my Hillary Clinton card. I don't see Hillary and them all working together publicly, but maybe behind the scenes.
But for the
It,
same direction, in the same direction, but in
mhm,
their own silos, so to
yeah,
speak.
because I get the action card with the Ace of Wands. This is anger. It's doing something. Group work, collaborations. With the Queen of Cups, Hillary comes through as that, but it could even be Liz. I think Liz is a Leo though, but against Trump, King of Pentacles, and it's because of some kind of world response, maybe treason, working with adversaries, something overseas is where they kind of have to come together. It's interesting though, because you have the Three of Cups, which is like females celebration. So it
Huh.
could be multiple females coming together within the government and bringing the magic with the magician.
He's probably trying to make a deal so that Liz can, be on the interim on the
Uh-huh.
whatever the coalition, like this coalition government is what I keep hearing.
Yeah,
And
It's interesting
I'll
though.
be fine, I'll be fine.
I see Hillary coming into the spotlight. Dick Cheney feels like he's doing everything behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. Okay,
Mhm.
interesting. But they're kind of doing everything for the same
Similar.
reason.
Yeah.
They're going in the same
Mhm.
direction.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to leave you guys with hope, because I know that the Republicans, can't find their spines. But when you have people, big, powerful people that are much, Hillary and Dick Cheney have been around for decades and decades
Yeah.
and decades. I mean, they know people, they can call people, and they know people across the aisle. Um, and so when you have that kind of power working towards the demise or the removal of 45, to me that's hopeful.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and that's what the cards are saying too. It's kind of like celebration. The star brings in hope, inspiration, celebration. So there'll be success with it.
It's just a matter of time, and it's
Mhm.
just a matter of everybody keeping your wits about you and staying out of the way of these crazy magas. They're going to go AWOL nuts. They're going to be fighting each other.
Mhm.
And we don't want to be in the middle of that. Okay. I don't want you guys in the middle of that. Let them tear each other to pieces. Whatever they're going to do, they do it. But we don't need to be out there in the middle of that.
Yeah. I think it's important, and a lot of people in our community are protesting. So I think it's important to find a way to fight against it. Whether it's protesting, maybe it's
Yes.
working with organizations, or doing some kind of way um, to act, just to take back our power. Um, but yeah, obviously, use your discernment and your intuition. And something doesn't feel quite right, be very cautious with it. But I almost feel like with Trump, when Trump does go down, he's dragging everybody that was
Oh, yeah.
associated down with him too. So it's
Absolutely.
they're gonna lose like that, the leaders and all of that within the movement. Not to say that there's not gonna still be voters and crazy people out there, or people that still aren't part of the cult, but I see it fracturing too. You know, a decent chunk of them kind of waking up with everything going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, I was two questions. One is Becky Milan.
Oh
What's up
yeah,
with David Hogg? I really like David Hogg. I
I like
think
him. I think he's
he's a
great.
maverick. He's outside of the he's certainly outside of the, normal Democratic, whatever party, uh, old
He's
guard, as
he's
you
the
say.
future of the party.
Um, I saw a great reading by Johnny with Tarot's Apprentice on
Mhm.
David Hogg, and I think it's 100% true. I think he's gonna, if he stays true to himself, he's gonna be fine. I mean, it's gonna be a challenge. He's gonna be
Mhm.
challenged. I mean, like his whole life, right? Ever since Parkland, he's not gotten a free day rest. They've been after him ever since, and I think that's going to continue. I just don't see easy street for David. Uh,
Mm.
but I also think he has to be careful about who he joins up with power wise,
Yeah.
because I think that they could trip him up. I think they could really, they could do that on purpose, that they could say, join our power group, and then actually kind of make him the fall guy for something. And
Mm.
he might be too young, too unseasoned in that particular way to see it coming. But what do you get?
Well, he's definitely shaking things up. That's for sure. I see
Yeah.
him as the future of the party. I agree with you. I do feel like there is, you know, maybe he's a little bit too ambitious and kind of gets like a reality check in some aspects. So there is some
Right.
kind of disappointment there. But
Right.
right now he's causing the fight.
I love it.
He's a strength. He's tired of, and I think most of us, most Democrats are kind of tired with the status quo Democrats who, you know, um, maybe speak up against um, the craziness kind of going on, but don't do anything to act. Um, he's got the wheel of fortune here, so it's his destiny he's stepping into, and his future. He has fulfillment. He's going to accomplish what he wants to, and Nine of Pentacles, so he's going to do very well. I see him. He's in the DNC right now, right?
Yeah,
Is he
he's like vice
vice
chair or
president?
something.
Yeah,
Vice
something like
president.
that. I see him in government at some point.
Do you see him like running for the House or the Senate?
I think he may run for the Senate. Yeah, not right now, but I mean, he's so young still too. I
Yeah.
do see him. He's a successful career in politics. Like I said, he feels like he's the future of the party.
You know what? I just saw him being a who were those rock star guys that Barack Obama had in the very beginning? His
In
very
his
first run.
campaign.
I see David working for a president, you know, in their
Okay.
run, be like running their comms or running like just really doing it, like just
Mhm.
being right there with somebody who's very popular presidential candidate. So yeah, I don't see anything bad. I think maybe that's even who you said in the very beginning of our video. You said, I see these young,
Yeah,
kind of spirited Democrats. I think this is kind of the energy you're talking
there's
about.
a new energy taking over the Democratic Party for sure.
Yeah,
It's
like
a
a
new
campaign
cycle.
manager kind of thing. Or
I could. Well, he's kind of doing that now as probably
for
co-chair,
the
but
whole
maybe
party. Yeah.
yeah, the
But I
whole
feel like
party
he's got a high ticket. He's on
more
a
intimate.
really, I don't know, or even I see him working with Tim Walz in some way. I don't know. There's
Mm,
somebody that's got a lot of dynamic energy, and them together is just like it's fire. It's a
yeah,
really good connection that happens there.
but I see
Um,
it. Maybe he sticks with like the organization and running campaigns and running the party for now. But I do see a career in politics for him. Like in
nice.
that, I felt like maybe Senate, but maybe it's the House.
Wow. Nice. Fantastic. Um, I don't know. I don't want to keep going forever because for one thing, Kamala Harris is going to be speaking. Denise says Rep. Gary Connolly, who won the
Yeah,
leadership seat instead of AOC, will be stepping down from that seat. His cancer has returned. Will AOC replace him?
let's take a look. And maybe that's why I'm not necessarily feeling like a run towards president, because like I said, it feels like it's more leadership within House. I do feel her in the Senate at some point too, but is she gonna take over?
But she just took over a new, so she's in a new
Was that intelligence
committee.
community? Is that what committee was he in? Was it
Whatever.
intelligence community? I think.
Yeah, tell us the committee he was in. Do you mind, Denise? Yeah, Fefe did a video on this, and I feel like I agree with her. So since she lost that, she went to a new committee, and she's kind of big in that committee. So she
Okay.
would have to leave that committee to go back. So do you see her? And also Crockett, Jasmine Crockett is now poised in that committee that Connolly is in. So she could move up into that position. What do
Someone's
you
saying
see?
oversight committee. Well, I asked about replacing him. I have 8 of Wands. This is building momentum. The communication for it, and I get her being the leadership emperor here, bringing an abundance with the 9 of Pentacles. So she's definitely getting a leadership position. But I almost wouldn't be surprised if she does get it this time, with him stepping down.
If she switches back over and takes that position.
And they can be in multiple committees, though, can't they? Or is that the Senate?
I don't know. I don't know. My understanding of it, which could be wrong, was that she would have to that it because it's a leadership position. So I
But she
think
has
she
to step
couldn't be
in that.
leadership in both, but I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel good about it, her replacing him this
Okay,
time
House
around.
Oversight Committee. Okay. And I'm not worried about Jasmine. Jasmine and AOC are going places. Like they're going wherever they want to go. So
Mhm.
I don't, if she does go back to that committee, it's not like she's blocking Jasmine. I'm not worried about either one of them. They're both
Yeah.
be just fine.
they're the future of the party too, both of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she can be in both, but it was somehow my understanding that it wasn't customary, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. It should have been hers to begin with.
It should have been hers to begin with, but here we are, and that's why we
This is
feel like
why the party's changing,
that's why
some people are going to be retiring, and then there's new leadership, new blood taking over the party, and it's pretty exciting.
Connolly picked his successor. Wow, Joyce. Okay. So Connolly picked his successor. So then this is the problem. The old guard continues to protect themselves, right?
I
And
think they would still have to vote for it, so maybe he endorsed somebody as a replacement.
right. Yeah.
But if she wants it,
Well, we still have to get around the old guard, the Nancy Pelosi. We still have, she has to get the support of. So there's some work that needs to be done within the Democratic Party. And believe me when I say this melting down of our democracy, of our Constitution, but also of the Republicans and the Democrats. That's why I tell you guys to take really good care of yourselves, because there's going to come a time when we're going to step up and say, now that it's melted down and we're ready to rebuild, what do we want?
Yeah.
And we need to be able to be healthy and mentally healthy to stand up and say, this is what we want. We really need to have our voice then. It's super important.
Yeah. The one thing, I'm not very happy about the situation that we're in, or the last decade that we've went through with Trump. But the one thing I can say that I am grateful for with him is it's brought all of us light workers together, and it's making even though he's exposing the swamp that he so wants to drain. So there's going to be a lot of changes and positive changes within our Constitution, our political parties, all of that as a result of him. So we're in the middle of the storm now, so it's kind of hard to see that hope in the future, but just know that there's going to be a lot of positive changes as a result of him and his corruption.
But we have to be in there and ask and make our voices heard. So keep doing what you're doing, like keep putting the pressure on, doing your 5 calls or whatever it is that you're doing that you can do. Whatever it's protesting or calling or donating or just praying, whatever it is, keep doing, because it's working. It really is working. These are positive signs. They're sort of like cracks in the facade of their wall.
Yeah.
Andy Barr, Trump lackey. Will he win Kentucky? Andy Barr, Trump lackey. Andy Barr, who is a Trump lackey. That's the guy maybe running against or running for McConnell's seat. I don't know. I got a yes and then I know, so I'm not really sure when that election might not be happening for a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a while away.
I think it's next year probably, right, Lisa?
I don't think it's McConnell's seat. Maybe it is. I don't think Bashir would leave until after his term's up. But
it's not Bashir. I think it's McConnell's seat. Isn't it McConnell's seat?
Is that 2026? Yeah, next year.
Yeah. Yes.
I see Bashir as a senator after his term's up.
Oh, do you? Oh, yes, I do too. Now that you say that, I see that. Yes. But okay, so he must be running. He would be running probably for McConnell's seat. Or Dingle Nuts. I think McConnell's. I don't know where Bashir lives. Yeah, Bashir's the governor. We're saying after his
term's up.
Yeah, if he terms out, he's going to run. I do think he's going to run for Senate because that guy wants to be president.
Yeah, I didn't say that he was. I said he would stay in his governor's seat until his term's up, and I see him running for senator and being a senator.
Yeah, after his term is up. Yeah.
He's going to run for president too, I do feel, but
he wants to run for president, but he's willing. He's willing to do a term as a senator. He wants to be a senator. He doesn't want to be a rep. He wants to be a senator. So he's wanting to do that and then run for president. That's his. When I go into his energy, it's pretty clear he's transmitting that, broadcasting that.
Yeah.
Even the Republicans love Andy in Kentucky. That's great. I'm thrilled for that. I'm glad that you finally have a good governor there. So last thing, Denise says, please pray that Representative Jerry Connolly is able to complete his term. It's a Democratic district, but our governor gets to schedule the election. Oh, Jesus. You got to be kidding. All right. Well, when is that? When is that election? Like 26?
Yeah, the House races are in 26.
You see him staying? I
don't know if
know.
he's going to finish out his term. I'm not
doesn't
feeling
look
that good about it.
great. He doesn't look that healthy. But maybe, send him love, send him light, lift him up. I don't know.
I don't know what state he's in either, because if it's more of a moderate governor, not a crazy one.
I don't remember what state he's in. Do you guys know what state he's in? What it means is, when KR is asking, what does it mean the R gets to schedule the election? If he doesn't complete his whole term, the laws in the states are different, and some states allow the governor to appoint someone. 26, we have a new governor in January 26. Oh, so this is your state? Are you in Virginia, Denise? Okay. We're talking about Gary Connolly. He's the guy that got the leadership position that AOC was trying to get. And he has cancer resurfaced or whatever happened, and now Virginia. Okay. And we don't want to lose that seat, right? And he's got pretty bad cancer.
He's in Virginia, and Virginia has their elections, I think in November this year. So even if, and I see Virginia going back to the Democrats for the governor and state house. But I don't feel like he's going to finish out his term, so maybe there's a flip in between there.
Yeah,
it feels like
26. She's saying he runs in 26. You guys, I could be wrong. He doesn't seem viable. Like that's just what they keep saying.
Yeah.
He ran against AOC within the party as in a leadership role in the Democrats, and he was given that leadership role over AOC. So it wasn't like he was running. He was running within the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Whew. All right.
Yeah,
well,
he's the governor now, but Virginia does their governor's races like on an off year, if I remember correctly. I think it's later on this year. And I feel like Youngkin, I don't think can run again anyway. But I feel like going blue, whoever the Democrat is. So maybe he hangs on until the end of the year and then can be replaced by a Democratic governor.
Yeah, I think she said they have a.
Yeah, anyway. They vote in November this year.
Yeah, right. I know. So Denise is saying, but I mean, my God, Texas is not the same as Virginia. But it is true, after Sylvester Turner died in Houston, Governor Abbott has not scheduled an election to replace him until November of 25. So basically, we're without that vote. That vote is missing in action, right? So that's kind of what she's saying is if Connolly doesn't last, we're down a vote. Or if he gets replaced until the election by an appointee, then we're down a vote, probably.
Now, somebody's saying that Youngkin can run again. I think this was his second term. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I see him out. I almost wonder, is it a female running for Virginia governor on the Democratic side? I almost feel like Abigail Spanberger is going to be the governor. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. We will. I like the way you talk, Denise. We will elect Abigail
Mhm.
Spanberger. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Lisa, this as the same thing in Kentucky. If McConnell steps down, uh, Bashir can appoint somebody. It's just meant to, keep the government running, right? Like the election might not be for 2 more years. The governor says, I'll appoint somebody. But yeah. Okay, so Lisa says no, he cannot run again. So I think Youngkin is term limited. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
you're right.
what I thought.
Youngkin worries me because he wants to run as Republican president, and he doesn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it when the United States was all jacked up. He
He
wants a
wasn't going
Democrat to
against
get
Trump.
straightened out and looking good, and then he wants to run.
And
Um,
he may be the nominee.
he might
I
be
think
the
that's such
nominee.
a strong
He's got
possibility.
a lot of energy.
Mhm.
I personally know how Kevin feels. Kristen says, what about Gretchen in Michigan? Did she flip? Do you know what they're talking about?
Yeah,
Uh,
because she just had Trump up there and went
yeah,
down to DC and kind of praised his trade war. I don't know. She's trying to play both sides. Um, you know, get the independent voters and not part of the problem with the Democratic Party. I think she really ruined her chances. And to be honest with you, I'm not the biggest Whitmer fan myself because she tried to um, when Biden dropped out this year, she was talking to everybody behind the scenes trying to get support, and everybody went to Kamala. So she kind of plays a bit dirty, in my opinion. But don't come for me. But I'm just not the biggest Whitmer fan.
yeah, it's complicated. I think
Mhm.
politics is complicated. I think she decided that she needed to save the jobs and the money. But this is
Mhm.
what Trump does, right? He's a bully. If you don't play nice to him, he's going to smack your state and take away your
Yeah.
money, and then your people suffer. And so then you suck up to him, and then the Democrats hate you. It's like, you know what I mean? I think that if you're going to stand against Trump, you have to stand like I think Tim Walz would. Tim Walz would say, I didn't meet with that MFer
Mhm.
because he's going to take away our money, but I didn't do it to you. He did it. Tim
Mhm.
Walz would stand up there and tell the people the thing. And I think Gretchen was like, I'm going to try to play it both ways so that I can take care of my people, take care of my political career, and keep this monster at bay. But those of us that have dealt with narcissists
I don't
understand
think
you
so.
cannot do that.
I'm not saying that, it wasn't because she didn't want to be retaliated against, but I think she's very ambitious and wants to be president. And I think she wants to be like a Newsom and be very across, very much center, not piss off the Republicans or independents, try to get some support from that. But the thing is what she just did is she's not going to win a Democratic primary.
This is what I'm trying to say. It's complicated. So she
Mhm.
saved 30,000 jobs. Okay, that's important, right? That's
Yeah.
important. But you have to understand these people. Trump is just going to take your 30,000 jobs later. There's no bending the knee to him. He will punish you. She's a Democrat.
Mhm.
You can't suck up to them. You can't play nice to them. You can't find a way. Look at Bezos. I mean, you can't. You just have to stand up to him and say, you do what you're going to do, but I'm going to make sure that every single person understands that you're the one
Mhm.
that did it to them, not me. And I think Kevin is right. I think this is going to come back against her the way that I feel like, the California guy. I just feel like we're very our eyes are very wide open, and we're
Mhm.
not we just can't have any grace. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, you know, now's not the time to be working together, and kind of kissing Trump's
True,
butt to
that's
kind of
true. It's kind of like Hitler. Like, at what point?
there's
At
so
what
much
point?
at stake for our country, and we're going to be like this close to losing our country. We're not going to, but we really need those that are going to fight back. And I'm just not a big fan personally, but don't come for me. That's just what I pick up with her energy. I don't feel like she's the most trustworthy person, but you know, she's doing her job in Michigan and better than the alternative. But
Yeah, I mean, you can't. She has worked hard for her people, right? I
mhm,
mean, so I don't know. It's complicated. It's a complicated thing. But Trump is toxic. He's radiation. He's Hitler. You really have to think about that before you.
mhm.
It's not business as usual. This isn't just like a regular Republican.
Yeah,
And
now's not the time to be complacent.
yeah,
Now's the time to stand up and fight.
okay. Everybody's saying Kamala Harris is giving her speech right now. We
Okay,
have
let's wrap it up.
3,300 people dropping rapidly. Thank you guys so much for joining us
Yeah,
tonight. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for being civil and letting us express our opinions. And I hope you feel like we've been civil to your opinions. Um, and we're all in this together. We're all going to stand together. We're all going to take care of each other, right? Thank you so much. This community is amazing, right? This is,
yeah,
like Kevin said, this is one of the things that Trump gave us, is this community.
absolutely. I always enjoy it, Susan. We always have a good time. Um, you have a wonderful community, so it's always a pleasure to be here. When we'll get something planned and have you on my channel soon. If I could just say, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please go over to Kevin's Loving Vibrations on YouTube, subscribe. Um, I do also offer Reiki sessions, and I have classes in May that are filled, but I do have another Holy Fire Reiki level 1 and 2 class in August. I'm going to start doing some group mentoring with my Reiki students. So kind of building a Reiki community and
Nice.
continuing to be a resource. So looking forward to that. And I do Reiki sessions for those that like it, or reading and Reiki combination package. All that stuff's on my website, kevinslovingvibrations.com. But I always enjoy it, Susan. It's always a good time.
Same here. It's all in the description. Yes, Kamala is on TV. She is giving a
Yeah,
speech at a
we have.
nonprofit. I think it's on C-SPAN. I don't know. You can Google it. It'll come up. And you guys take really good care of yourselves. Definitely go check out Kevin's channel. He does
Thank
politics,
you.
and he also does Reiki energy
Mhm.
work as well. And we'll see you next time. Yeah, elbows up, Australia. I love it.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Canada, right? Like, for
Yeah.
real.
Hmm.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys. Take good care. We'll see you again
Everyone.
soon.